It's not very big, but it does the job.
That'll do. Oh gosh, dude.
We're live. Ladies and gentlemen, how are you doing? Jeff Kiesel, Kiesel Guitars, and I have my very special guest, Mr. Andy James, who, if you are a guitar player, needs no introduction. But I'm excited to have you out here, man.
Again?
Yeah, again.
When was the last time?
It's been a bit, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been a bit. I mean, we were supposed to, you're supposed to come stay with us for like a week last year, but then you know what happened. So
Yeah.
unfortunately, the world kind of did a big flip there, and we didn't get to hang, and so doing the FaceTime thing and whether it's video and audio and just keeping in touch, text, but it's great to have you out here. So how long have you been out here now, total?
Probably nearly a month.
Yeah.
Yeah, come Friday it'll be like a month.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, as far as I'm aware, you can still travel for like, official work and business.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
like obviously being stuck in my studio at home, I can't really do a lot. So, it was cool to get out here and, start doing some work and stuff. Been doing some writing. Did a couple of movie things the other day.
Nice.
It's like a bit of a Sons of Anarchy style thing for a horror movie.
That's awesome. That'd be rad.
Yeah.
If you guys haven't been paying attention, Andy is playing guitar in Five Finger Death Punch, and they're based in Vegas. Most of the members are based in Vegas, and so Andy's been in Vegas now for nearly a month, and finally we were able to connect, and we're bringing you something new. We're bringing you the AJ2, and this is a model that's been in the works now, really since we knew Andy was going to be in Death Punch, and I said, hey, why don't we bring the AJ model to more people, was really the idea. And
Yeah.
the big thing with the AJ2 that separates it from the original, that's still offered, the original AJ, is three things that make I'm going to show off. Can I have that green one here?
Yeah.
three things that really make the original AJ something very expensive for us to produce. Number one is going to be that it's a carved top, right? So this is the original AJ. It's got a carved top, and that takes a lot more CNC machine time. It also takes more time and labor sanding. Then you have the construction. This is what's called a set through. So the neck is running through the majority of the body. It's set into it, and it stops just before the bridge pickup. So you still get that set neck tone, and then there's a top put on it. So it's our most labor-intensive guitar from a construction standpoint. And then the finishes, with the black center, very colorful burst, matching pickups, black binding, and then the colorful back and back of the neck. So it's a 4 to 5 day process for us to paint these. And those are our three biggest costs to the original AJ model. So the idea was, well, how do we make a guitar that Andy is going to want to play and love and make it more affordable? So we came up with the AJ2. And what this is this is the same exact body shape. So the perimeter shape between the original AJ and the AJ2 is identical, but it's not a carved top. It's a flat top guitar with an arm bend in there. So it's got a very comfortable arm cutaway, like a drop top they would call it if you put a top on it. And it's got a rounded body edge to it. So it maintains a similar look to the carved top without all the extra cost for us. Then it's a bolt-on neck, and that really helps us to make it, streamline it, to make it a little more affordable. And then thirdly, the finishes, you can get whatever custom shop finish that we offer, including solid colors at no charge. You can get tops on these, flame tops, quilted tops, poplar, burl tops, whatever you want. You can fully customize these. And then really the last one was they're available Evertune or a hip shop fixed. So standard is going to be a hip shop fixed, coming in at $14.99 with the Kiesel Polarity Actives, with the same frets Andy plays. So it's the same pickup, same frets, same neck wood. The difference would be an alder body versus a alder body with a maple top on the AJ2. So nearly identical woods, same craftsmanship that you know and love from Kiesel. It's just cutting down our labor so that we can pass along the savings to you guys and give more AJ fans an option to buy. So these are available in 6 and 7 string, hip shop fix or Evertune, starting at $14.99. We are taking pre-orders for these, so if anybody's interested, they can always call. I'm going to hand this off to you and let you kind of, talk about it a little bit. Between the AJ1 and the AJ2, what are some of the things that you really like about the two as opposed to the one, the original?
Well, actually, I haven't played bolt-on necks for quite a while now because obviously, that one's like the set through. And I kind of like forgotten what they sounded like, but on like picking this up and like playing it, I've noticed that they're slightly more percussive. Like especially with some of the rhythms and some of the lower ends, you can get a bit more of that kind of machine gun sound, especially in like the picking and stuff, which I really like. And obviously, doing Death Punch is quite a percussive sort of riffing band, so that's definitely one of the things that I noticed with this. The other thing I noticed as well is obviously it's a bit of a flatter top.
Yeah.
So I didn't know, whether the change between that was going to be a huge difference, but it's actually really comfortable, especially because like with this back bit is like, I don't know what you call
the belly cutaway.
Yeah, and then obviously it kind of continues around this sort of bit here, and then like the back heel and stuff as well. So the access is still like, really good from what I'm used to with that. Because with that one, that's like a modified crescent.
Yeah.
In it. So this one is a completely kind of standalone.
That's its own model, where this was based off of the Crescent, and this was a ground up signature model. This is, a model just for Andy, and it's available with our normal custom shop options. If you want to do whatever inlays we offer, and finishes, fretboard woods, neck woods, things like that. You can really customize this where, the original model is very set. You pick between a few colors, very cool guitars, but they're more specialized, where this is, I feel like it's going to be more obtainable and maybe even, appealing to more people because there's so much customization.
Yeah, definitely. Finally, when gigs get back going again, I'm definitely looking forward to like trying this out with the full rig setup and seeing how it sounds, especially from that kind of percussive point of view I was talking about. Also, the other thing as well, like you're going to be having like the normal hip shot in there as well.
Hip shot is standard.
So yeah, like a lot of these like options that were kind of maybe fixed on that model, on this you can totally change if you want to,
Yeah, because not everybody's going to want an Evertune. Some people are going to still want, a traditional bridge, which, with our stability that we have, you don't have to have an Evertune. It's just Andy is so accustomed to an Evertune, and it's so much a part of his sound from, bending, you have to bend a little further with an Evertune. And so by having to bend further, you get used to that. So going back to a traditional style bridge, I think was something that maybe not necessarily what you would want, but, being mindful of what fans might want. I think that was really cool that you're open to that.
I think, because obviously the Evertune does take a little bit of getting your head around. Some people don't even want to have that anyway. I know some people feel like it takes a bit of nuance out of your playing, which I don't know, like, because I know how to set it up exactly pretty much within an inch of its life, how to get so you get like slight inflections in like notes and stuff, even just variety. You can still get all of that stuff in there, which I still think people out there now, they just don't think that you can get any vibrato or bending, like when it's like, oh yeah, is that the bridge where you can't bend or whatever?
Well, that was that's what we thought at first, because the problem is there wasn't enough education or documentation or information out there, especially when we started messing with it originally in 2012, and I was like, well, why would we want this? And then when we met, you educated me, and it was like, oh, this is cool, we should do this. And then, we were able to work together, which has been awesome.
But I'm so used to it now anyway. Like, I'll pick up like a normal guitar, and like, even if it's like perfectly intonated or perfectly in tune, like relative to what a normal guitar can be, I can still hear it.
Yeah.
It still bugs me. I'm like, fuck, it's still not perfectly in, Whereas like with this, I just can literally just like do a flight, get handed the guitar and just literally go on stage, and I know it's going to be perfect. So I'm so used to the convenience of that now, that using another bridge, because I don't use like, anything other than a hardtail.
Well, and two, people that have a home studio, if you're looking for a guitar that's going to be super stable and very versatile, I think this is going to be it. It's affordable. You have the polarity actives, which are dual modes. So for recording, it's amazing. You get all the control that an active will offer you, and then you still get the percussiveness, you get the individual string bounce and note articulation of our system, because we're using a passive pickup with an active preamp. So combining that technology with an Evertune makes for a great studio guitar. It really does.
Yeah. I know some people think that maybe like the sustain of a bolt-on isn't quite as good as maybe, that as well. I haven't noticed any difference with this. Still sounds fucking good to me.
Well, and a lot of that is, it really comes down to woods and construction. There's people out there, that will have that argument and that fight of tone woods if they're real, and we believe in them here, and that's because we've been able to hear the difference. With that alder body, I feel like alder is such an underrated wood. It's such a great, well-rounded sound with great sustain. It doesn't really boost any frequency more or less. It's really a great standard wood. And if you're looking to change from that, and you really know you want a lot of mids or you want a lot of lows for the music you're doing, then it's great to change from that. But such an awesome wood, and that's part of the sustain, right? Is having that body wood, having the neck bolted in there very securely, the carbon fiber rods in the neck, giving it a lot of stability where the neck is not moving. So it's really going to yield an awesome sounding guitar like that.
I mean, the other thing I like about this as well is obviously all these other ones have like the satin paint that go all up the neck, and this one's just got like the
got the oiling.
Yeah, and that feels super smooth.
Oh yeah,
like really kind of silky to the touch, like, which is nice because obviously, when you're moving around at any sort of speed or whatever, you don't really want to feel like you're stuck to the neck either.
Especially touring, when that starts back up again and you're playing a show and you're sweating, you're on stage. I think that's
one thing with
because
the satin doesn't stay very long on the neck, because once you kind of rub it enough, it glosses out, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So like with this, you're not really going to have that. But yeah, I'm excited to see what it's like, on the road and doing gigs and stuff.
That'll be cool.
Yeah.
Well, why don't we open up for your guys' questions? So what do you want to know? All things Andy James. Want to know about the new guitar? You got questions about construction? Let's keep it, focused on this new model and on Andy James. But what do you guys want to know?
Jonathan is wondering, will we see Andy be using the same exact model on tour live?
Yeah, there's definitely a plan. I mean, there's a couple more in the works. I mean, this was just like a kind of, like the final version that we settled on, and we just sort of did it in this block green or whatever. But yeah, there's a couple more that I'm going to be having that will definitely see some road use, 100%. And it will be exactly what you're seeing and hearing or whatever. That's the thing with like my stuff, is I would hate to be using anything that would be like, oh right, yeah, well this is what we're advertising we use, but it's a completely different set of pickups, different frets, different strings, it'd just be nuts doing that. So no, everything that you see is pretty much exactly what I use,
Is it possible to get matching colored pickups on the new AJ model?
That's a great question. It is. You'll have to pay for those, but that is an option. With the original model, it comes standard, but that's part of what, adds to the cost of that model is the intense finishes. If you were to add up a finish on the original AJ models, by the time you paint match the pickups, it's a $600 finish. And the original AJs, we've been needing to go up in price, but we've been holding the line. To be honest, this was supposed to come out last year. And with touring not happening, we decided to wait. And we don't want to wait any longer, is the reality here. And we were going to kind of launch it with, the big US tour that Andy was getting ready to head out on that started up late March, early April of 2020. And I've held the pricing on the AJs where they are, but I have to go up on the original AJs, and having this kind of fill in there to really help out, I think is the right answer.
Yeah.
So,
will the model come in 8-string?
Right now, there's no plans to add an 8. We'll see what the future brings. If there's a lot more demand from Andy's music for an 8. Then yeah, we can consider adding an 8. But we both kind of talked about it and thought, let's just make it as a 6 and a 7 right now.
Yeah, I think there's probably going to be some 8-string stuff in the future, but depending on how much that ends up being.
Yeah.
But like you say, the demand for it as well, because obviously if you like build a load and then no one wants them, it's like
Well, in the original, the AJ, the original AJ 8 is available as an 8-string, so
yeah,
you can still get that one.
Marvin is wondering, will we be able to get it with a trim?
Right now, there's no plans to add a trim. Andy doesn't use a trim. We'll see what the demand is for that.
Much to the annoyance of a lot of people I know. It's like, why do you play fixed bridge? Why didn't you use a trim? It's like, I don't know. I think I've just been a fixed bridge player for a long time, especially using Evertune and stuff. I had an old Ibanez like years ago that had a Floyd Rose on it, and I just remember thinking it was probably, for me personally, it was just the most impractical thing. So I just stopped using them and started using hardtails. I've used some guitars where they've had like the trims on that don't have like the locking mechanism and stuff. But again, there's kind of tendency to go out of tune. And,
Well, especially when you're used to an Evertune.
well, yeah, but you know, especially with like heavy palm muting as well. Like if you've got a trem
yeah.
that goes like both ways, you know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
you know, you can end up pushing the strings
Sure.
out of tune. Maybe that's bad technique, I don't know, but fuck it, it just never suited me, so I just stopped using them.
Do you still have plans to work on new solo material, even though you just joined Five Finger Death Punch?
Yeah, I don't see why not. I mean, I've there's still some stuff in the old sort of vault, well, folder on my desktop, that's like, you know, needs a bit of work and stuff like that. I mean, I'm currently coming up with like ideas for like new music for everything. So you know, it would depend what ends up getting used for what or whatever. But yeah, I mean, it wasn't like, oh right, I'm going to be doing that band now and not doing anything. You know what I mean? So because I still have that kind of like itch to scratch at some point. But I mean, my what was it last year, 2020? So I had a solo album come out in, I think it was like July last year. So that's not even been a year. So I mean, I've got probably another year, 2 years maybe before I start seriously thinking about doing another solo record and stuff. In the meantime, I'll just be working on like band stuff.
When is the model coming out?
So the model's available now. You know, there's not a page on the website just yet. There's a placeholder page for right now. We are taking pre-orders, so anybody that wants to order it, we're able to start right away on guitars. You know, the programming's all done. You know, we have more examples of the AJs, including this one Andy will be playing on the road, as you know, whenever he gets when things get back to normal, I guess. And then there's a couple other ones we're working on too that we sorted out all the details today, and the builds are actually in. We've been in, you know, where we just needed to know what colors and such, and so we sorted all those out. So we'll have probably a week or two. We should have those ones that Andy's going to be touring with. You know, this one and the other two. And the only option that is an upgrade on this guitar, as opposed to a standard AJ2, is the 3-piece all maple neck. It's the only thing, and I put that on there because I want that little bit of extra stability while he's on the road. He didn't ask for it. The models come with a standard single-piece quarter sawn maple neck, and this is a 3-piece quarter sawn maple neck. And you know, the difference really is not that it's stronger by being 3-piece. It's less likely to move due to a humidity change because there's 3 pieces of wood. So that's the only upgrade that Andy's models are getting, besides, you know, some custom finishes, you know, some eye candy, right? So he's going to be able to play arenas with his, you know, his entry level AJ model, you know, if you will. And it's not entry level. It's probably really a bad phrase for it. It's still a pro model, but entry on price, you know. So that was really the goal.
Yeah.
So
Gene is wondering, late to the stream, what do they cost?
So they're starting at $14.99. There is a web page that you can take a look at them. There's not a whole lot of info, to be completely honest with you. You know, you can call the guys for more info. But I think the website is kieselguitars.com/AJ2. At least that's what I asked the guys to name it. I'm getting the nod yes. So kieselguitars.com/AJ2. There's a small one-page, you know, little thing that we put together, and it'll be added to the builder. So a lot of the same options that an Aries would have, you know, similar Aries.
Mike has a question for Andy. He
Yeah.
says, why nickel frets?
Because they're just softer. I like a guitar to kind of like wear in, you know, like a sort of old pair of slippers or something, as opposed to like playing the steel frets.
Yeah,
Steel
stainless.
frets. Yeah. I mean, I've had a couple of those guitars in the past, and I always pick them up, and they just feel like it's just been shipped to me. You know what I mean? And like, I know some people like that, but like for me, I don't know. I like the fret wear in certain parts of the neck. You know what I mean? It kind of just makes it a little bit more. I don't know, personal, I suppose. Yeah, I mean, I've been playing like nickel frets all my life, so I'm so used to how that feels. And the stainless steel felt like such a different thing that I just didn't know if I wanted spend the time on getting used to it. Even though I know I probably would never need to refret a guitar again, but I mean, even with nickel frets, though, I don't ever get them like refretted if they pit. You know, I just get them redressed or whatever, and do that. Yeah.
Well, and this is going to come standard with the 6100s, which is nickel jumbos, but you can get stainless steel on this model and still not have it be no return. Where the regular AJ, if you were to say, hey, I don't want the 6100s, I want stainless, it's yours. You know, where this one, we're opening up the doors for more people, more players to be able to get into these, even players that don't necessarily know who Andy is, which I don't know how the hell you don't know who Andy is. At this point, if you play...
exist.
Well, what I mean is, like, you know, if there's people out there that don't know who Kiesel Guitars is, right? We've been you know, we've been around, you know, obviously a lot longer than Andy James, but people don't know who Carvin or Kiesel is. So there's still that conversation out there. But, you know, at this point, if you're watching this and you're like, who is that guy? You need to look him up and watch his playing and listen to his playing. And keep in mind, you know, when John Petrucci has a camp, this is one of his head instructors. You know, so the technique that Andy has and the playing ability he has is like no other out there. You know, for what he does, it's as good as it's going to get.
Will it ever come in
that's what I
multi-scale?
think.
Yeah. Hey, sorry, say that again.
No plans for multi-scale. That's not something Andy plays. You know, could this model be more diverse down the road? I don't know. Is the answer.
Is that the fan fret?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck. I just get so lost on them, especially like if you're doing sort of like an arpeggio, and you're like, oh fuck, your hand just sort of goes like that. And you're like, Rrr. So yeah, nah, fuck that. We're not doing that.
There we go. There you have it. There you have it.
Justin Lubers, Andy, do you feel any difference in your right arm when playing the carved top AJ1 to the flat AJ2?
No, not really. I mean, like my sort of like picking hand is still kind of relatively in the same place. I don't anchor my fingers or anything like that when I'm playing. So like any sort of like fast stuff, I suppose. You know, I just kind of use my wrist mainly for a lot of that stuff. So kind of don't really notice it like that much. I think maybe like aesthetically, obviously, you can tell that there isn't like the thing on it, but maybe apart from that. There's not a huge playing difference to the difference, you know, between having a flat and carved top.
Brendan is asking, will you be able to ship these worldwide?
Absolutely. Yeah, we ship all Kiesels worldwide. This is no different than any other Kiesel. Lead times for builds, this isn't any extra time over any of the other Kiesel models. 12 to 16 weeks is what we're quoting right now, and we're working a lot of overtime to try to get, you know, caught up to where we can try to get back to like the 10 to 12 weeks is our goal. But we're 12 to 16 right now, and some builds are coming in 4 weeks early. So, you know, hopefully, you know, we can continue to get caught up. But I got to thank you guys. You guys are amazing for the support. You know, obviously we wouldn't be in this situation without you guys, so thank you so much.
Will there be a left-handed version?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's not
Yeah.
down to me, but
We'll do a left-handed, that's no problem.
they exist, don't they, left-handers?
Yeah, we've done regular AJs. Oh, you mean people?
Yeah.
Yeah, they exist. Yeah, but we've done the regular AJ model left-handed, and I don't see why to tell you guys no. So yeah, we'll do those for you guys.
Can you get candy or Arctic finishes on this model?
Absolutely. So the normal Kiesel custom shop is open to you guys. The one thing we're not going to be doing on this model, and I was asked earlier by my staff, is we're not going to be doing the non-rounded body. This model has to come with a rounded body. And the reason why is, you know, that is really what separates the look between the 1 and the 2, the original and the 2, is that hard edge. And I'm not going to be offering this one without the rounded body. So for some of the finishes, you know, like an Arctic, it's going to be a very interesting look, I guess, with the rounded edge. So candies is no problem, of course. All the other finishes, you know, you get flame tops, quilt tops, Buckeye, whatever, you know, whatever tops. I'm actually really anxious to see some poplar top ones. I think those are going to be absolutely hot. Poplar Burrow. I know Andy doesn't like all the woods. I'm like, hey, let me build you a really sick one. He's like, no, it's okay. He doesn't like seeing the woods.
I should probably, have one, but yeah, like I think the only crescent I own which is different than all the other ones is the white rawtail.
Oh yeah.
Which is kind of the only like wood grain one that I have. Everything else is satin covered. But yeah, I don't know. I like these kind of like bold colours,
And that's a good point that you brought up. These are coming with satin finishes standard, but you can get gloss finishes on the AJ too. The original AJ, if you wanted a gloss, we could do it for you. It would waive the ability to return it. Because Andy doesn't want a gloss finish on anything. But with this model, again, just working with him and really getting his permission to be more flexible with how it's offered to, make it appeal to more of you guys. So it's really cool. It's up to him. It's Andy's model, so we have to, be respectful of that.
Yeah.
He did say no pink ones, so no, he didn't.
I actually asked for a pink one earlier. I was like,
yeah, it was funny.
Nah, fuck it. I mean, can you imagine me like playing that? Yeah. Weird.
No, you know what we need to do? We need to do a Kiesel Racing Green one like this and splatter a hot pink over it, dude. Yeah.
I mean, let's not and say we did.
There we go. I like that.
Someone will probably order that. I'll be like, oh yeah, fuck, that sounds.
That would be hot. Paint the pickups, paint green and then pink. Oof, that would be badass. We could do alternating pink and green inlays. Someone call my guys and get one and make him so proud.
Actually would look
proud
cool.
Papa.
It's like if these pickups were like red and like red fucking bits and pieces.
We could do that.
It'd be cool.
For you, yeah? Yeah.
Are any of the guitars behind you guys for sale?
No, these are mine.
Yeah, those are his personal guitars.
So if you notice the truss rod caps are done because I'm constantly changing where the neck is every day. I mean, not because the guitar's bad, it's because I'm a fucking indecisive prick. So every day, like, it's a different pick, different fucking...
Yeah, he literally changed his pick today. Literally today. The first time he ever played this pick, he's like, oh, I think I like these.
You know what the problem is? It's like joining a band because, like, up until, recently, I wasn't doing a band for like a long time, so I was doing a lot of instrumental stuff. And obviously using the Dunlop Flow picks, which I still love those, but they're great for like, soloing and stuff like that. Whereas doing a band like Death Punch, for example, you have to like play rhythms. There's clean parts, there's acoustic parts, there's like, different tunings. It's like fucking hell, having one bit of plastic to sort of do all that. So it kind of put me on a bit of a quest again to try and find something that can do all of that and feels comfortable. And there's a few contenders floating around. Until I came in today, Brandon had like this. This is a flow, so this is what I'd normally use, but Tortex version, it's like 1.14. Now I tried all the other Tortex ones, and I didn't know this one existed, and I never tried it. But I'm kind of hooked on it at the moment. But rather than make him go home and give me the whole bag, right, which I sort of joked about, I was just like, no, just give me a couple, because I can guarantee tomorrow I'm going to wake up and my whole DNA will have changed again, and this won't be the right pick. So, right. But anyway, yeah, these are both mine. This was like one of the first ones we ever made. Mm-hmm. This one has a mahogany neck on it, doesn't it?
I don't remember.
Yeah.
To be honest, I don't think it's mahogany. It's a 5-piece.
Is it?
Yeah, I think it was 5-piece maple with either walnut or mahogany stripes. I think it was walnut stripes.
Oh, it might have been.
That's what I think.
Yeah.
And he could hear the fucking difference. No shit. He goes, "What's up with this neck?" And I'm like, "Son of a bitch!" Like, I was out of the 5-piece all maples, and so we had to switch it up because we're trying to get this build done, really quick and everything. And I didn't have the 4 weeks to wait because when we run out of a neck, and they're in the thermo treatment process, which we won't skip, even on your builds, we will not skip. Even on Andy's, right? I got an artist I got to hurry up and get it to, and he hit me up. Why does this one sound a little different? And I'm like, son of a bitch, you can hear the 2 pieces of... Yeah, but he literally asked me why it sounded a little different. But it was next to
that one.
Yeah.
Because I was doing a lot of recording
back to back,
with both those guitars. At the time I was doing like an EP.
And that was the only difference.
Yeah. But that one was kind of more consistent with the other one, so I kind of, by power of denomination, figured out that there was something going on with that. So, I mean, it's just one of those things, isn't it? You notice. I notice when like someone puts elixirs on my guitar, and I get it, and I'm like,
Well, that's a big difference.
This don't fucking feel
Strings
right.
is, I totally get that.
But I can tell as soon as you
neck
stick
lambs-
Dunlops on it, I'm like, yeah, okay, now I know.
Yeah,
Can you get an inline headstock?
you can. Yes.
I don't use them because they're noisy. That's the only reason why. Because like, you know, this, I mean, it still makes noise anyway, which is kind of why I have that there. But with the inline ones for recording, it's like fucking hell. So that's the reason why I settled on this headstock. And plus, I kind of like the fact that the machine heads aren't all on one side. But yeah, I think you can get that if you want.
Can we get passive pickups in this model?
No. I mean, that would be something you'd have to do an option 50 request. I guess technically, I mean, we could do that. It'd make it yours. You'd have no trial period on it, because the thing about the model that we wanted to make consistent, at least, was the sound of the model. Because if we're not going to make it sound like what the artist wants, there's no point in doing it. So for me, I think we could have that flexibility and do it with passives, but it'd be yours to keep, you know, at that point, because, you know, what AJ fan is gonna want it that doesn't have AJ sound, right? So
Raphael is asking, what scale length and string gauge do these come from standard from the shop?
So these are gonna all be 25.5, and then string gauge, we put 10 to 46 on a 6 string, and then the 7th string is going to be a 60. I think we're using 60s now.
60,
yeah. We were using 62s for a little bit, but we went down to a 60.
Yeah, well, I think I was.
So what are you
then,
using for yours?
My gauge is a little bit weird because again, it's another thing where if I get a standard 10 to 46, then low 60 strung guitar, I can tell that it's not quite exactly the same, because like my string gauge goes 10 instead of 13, that's a 12 on the B, and then instead of 17, it's a 16 on the G. So both of those are dropped down like a point something or other, whatever it is, 1. And then the rest are, so it's like 10, 12, 16, 26, 36, 46, and then 60. And it's all just in standard.
And then we don't set the guitars up the way Andy plays them for you guys.
Because
and
everyone hates my like setup.
Well, it's not that. His setup is so unique. His plain strings are actually higher than his wound strings, which is a bit different, but it works great for Andy. And so we have particular measurements for each string height, and that's how we send the guitars to him. And our guitar tech Albert calls him Thor, because it takes so much finger strength to be able to play the guitars the way that they're set up for him. So when we set them up, it's a normal Kiesel setup where we feel is for the majority of players is going to be better playability for what you're wanting. But for Andy, he loves the way this is set up, and I think you played a lot of acoustic early on in your career, right? And
yeah, but the other thing is, I think my left hand, like I figured out early on that my left hand moved faster than my right, and I couldn't get them to sync up properly.
Oh shit!
So I had a lot of syncing up issues, like when I first started. But like my one of my first guitars was like a Les Paul, and it had like an Epiphone, and it had like a the Tune-o-matic thing on there.
Yeah.
So you could just get a screwdriver and just fucking wind it.
Oh yeah.
I just ended up doing that until both hands felt in sync. And it just ended up. I think it ends up being, what is it, millimeters? Is it? How do you measure it?
We do it. It would be thousands.
Oh, it's not because it. Yeah. So that's like 3, and then it progressively goes down to 2 on the wound strings.
Yeah.
So and then like a little bit of neck relief as well. I don't have it completely flat either.
Yeah.
So the action's lower here than it is here, so it progressively gets slightly higher.
Yeah, we've never set a guitar up the way Andy requests for anybody else. I mean, no other artist has ever asked that, and that doesn't make it wrong. I mean, it's obviously works very, very well for Andy. And you look at different players, and they develop their technique, and that technique works great for them. So.
Well, it's necessity, I suppose, because like I didn't really think that maybe fundamentally I had a problem with my technique, or I just thought it was.
There's nothing wrong with your technique.
No, I know, but I was going right. This guitar doesn't feel right, so I'm just going to fucking keep changing it until it does. But like when I first met Albert, and well, it wasn't a Kiesel guitar, it was another brand, but when I gave, because I had an Evertune on there as well, so I was like fucking about with it, and each string height was slightly different from the other.
Yeah.
Because I did it all from like sight and feel, so I was just like, right, okay, what does this string feel like? Probably just play like a lick on one string and then move to the next one. And then when all the strings feel like they're perfectly in sync with my hand, that's how I'd leave it. But weirdly, they'd all end up at different heights.
Yeah, but that's okay. Nothing wrong with that.
Is a neck pickup delete possible?
It's not. No. Mm-mm.
What's that? Not have one?
Not have one.
Oh, no,
Yeah.
I couldn't do that.
Yeah, I mean, Andy relies so much on the neck pickup. It's pretty amazing at how much neck pickup he uses.
Brad is asking, I missed the intro of the live. Is this a bolt-on model?
It is. Yeah, it's a bolt-on model. It's got a sloped neck heel, so no plate, great access. It's Evertune is an option. Hip shot fixed is standard. 6 and 7 string, 25.5-inch scale. Base price with polarity actives. Basically, the way you see it, base price would be of a 6 string with the hip shot would be $14.99. The only option I put on this model for Andy is the 3-piece all maple neck. So he's going to be able to, if you've got a 3-piece maple neck upgrade, you would literally have the identical guitar he's going to be playing arenas with. And it's not replacing his original guitar. It's just the idea behind the guitar was twofold. It was to give something more affordable for fans and give him a different sound. With the Death Punch stuff, he's needing some of that bolt-on sound. That punch, no joke, that punch that the bolt-on has it's a big difference. Really is. So it's going to be cool to see, see how that works out for you.
Yeah, I mean, especially from a recording point of view as well. 'Cause
Yeah.
obviously I know what these sound like because I've been using them for years now, but I'm kind of keen to plug this in and just do some recording with it.
Yeah, that'll be cool.
Are customers able to order an AJ model with the same setup and string gauges that he uses?
Probably. I'd have to get on the blower to Dunlop and get them to
Yeah.
do a load of custom sets up. Yeah,
Sure.
why not? And then set it up with the same string height as well, and then you can fucking pull your hair out like most people do. Like a computer guitar, didn't I? And he was just like, "Nah, I can't play that." Just gave it straight back to me.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't recommend it. I mean, I'm just going to be completely honest. I have not ran into one person that can play his guitar. So not saying you're not special, but I don't know that you're going to be able to play that guitar, and you might play it and go, holy shit, why is Andy playing these? So
I mean, sometimes it happens to me as well. like, you have days where you're like, oh, why am I doing this? But then other days it's like, it's all right. No, most days it's fine. Like I don't. Usually when it's kind of set and stuff, I don't fuck with that. Like the only thing I'll move is like the neck slightly if I feel like maybe it's. But again, it's not because the necks move on these things. It's just because I feel like maybe it's a little bit too high. I'll put it back. But once this string height is set, I never change that because that's always consistently the same.
Andy, how are you so good at playing the guitar?
I don't know. I mean, that's usually a sort of onlooker's perspective. Most days when I play, I'm just like, fucking hell. You need to like maybe learn something new or get a bit more. Because the problem is like when you do music for a career, the time that you spend actually honing your craft kind of diminishes. So it's the hardest thing for me is trying to stay on top of that kind of like level that you're used to a lot of the time, especially when you don't play for a few days. And obviously when you're like writing and stuff, especially some of the stuff and songs that I'm writing now, it doesn't really require like huge amounts of like shredding all the time. So it's a different mindset that you get in. But yeah, from a technique point of view, like when I'm working on like my own stuff, I always try and push myself to a point where there'll always be things that I won't have necessarily done before. There might be techniques that I'll have used 1,000 times, but maybe it'll be like, note orders or different patterns or stuff like that. So I'm always like aware of trying to change it up a little bit instead of relying on, playing the same thing over and over again. But I don't know, like I've been sort of professionally a guitar player for 12 years now. and it's definitely year upon year increasingly harder to try and introduce like new stuff, especially because like when you learn new stuff, you have to like use it, otherwise you lose it, you know, in a lot of ways. And because I'm sort of like firmly fixed in the style that I work in now, I mean, I may possibly look at learning some different styles. I think it's probably about time, maybe, I don't know, but yeah, I don't know, like I wouldn't necessarily think of myself that way. It's really weird, but like when people say that to me and go like, oh, you know, what's it like, you know, getting up every day and being able to do this, that and the other, I don't know, but like, I suppose on a daily basis, because you live with it, you probably either maybe take it for granted, as opposed to say like someone looking at you going, oh fuck, I wish I could do that. Because I look at a lot of players online and a lot of other people, not necessarily well-known players, and I'm just like, fuck, I wish I could do that. So it's definitely horses for courses in terms of like what you end up focusing on and all the stuff that you do. But yeah, I try and be the best that I can be at what I do, and try and maintain that if I can.
Horses for courses? What the hell is that? I've never heard that in my life.
Well, you know, you probably, if there's a different course, you use a different horse.
Got it.
I don't know. I know nothing about horse racing.
There's an ass for every seat.
Yeah,
that'd be like the same thing. Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Alec is wondering, Andy, what's your favorite color on a guitar?
I mean, my whole sort of colour scheme is like a walking negative. So I'm like a sort of black and white fan. Anything that's like black and white clothing or guitars or cars or anything like that. So that's probably my favourite thing. The green I really like. So when I first got presented with this guitar to my left, I was like, you know, really excited about that colour scheme and stuff like that. Obviously I play the black and white one, which is like my main one that I've been using the most. But silver, I have to say, when this one, I mean, I'm not saying it just because they're here, it's just these two were out with me on the road at the beginning of last year, so they were my main guitars at the time. But yeah, like when you made that gunmetal grey one with the black, I was like, fucking hell, it just looked expensive, you know.
Yeah.
It kind of has that look.
Yeah,
to
I
it.
agree.
But actually, with this one, one of the ones that you're doing now is kind of like that.
Yeah.
So I'm excited.
A little like it. Yeah, it's gonna be cool.
Yeah, but
It's gonna be cool.
Yeah.
Andy, do you tune to standard tuning or do you down tune?
No, this is all. So it's all in basically B, and then well, it's kind of B standard with a high E, I suppose, if you want to look at it like that. But it's like just standard tuning, because I'm so used to like the tension of it, the sound of it. I mean, if we do anything else tuning wise, it'll be a different guitar, you know, like it'll be an H string or something to go down lower. I won't necessarily take this and tune it down a whole step. The only other thing I'll do is maybe drop the B string down to an A. And I've done quite a lot of instrumental stuff. Probably on, not the last record I did, but the one before that, there was a lot of drop A songs on that. But yeah, that's pretty much it. It's just standard tuning, you know.
Is there a 26.5 or 27-inch scale length option?
There's not. Andy plays 25 and a half, so there's no plans to add extended scales to this model. I mean, that would be something that if he had the need, then, you know, we would add it. But without his need for that, you know, we have no plans to add it.
Right.
That's something available on the Aries model, you know, to be honest with you guys. So Kiesel does have an answer for that. And, you know, we can't make every single model answer every single possibility, right? You know, that's why we have multiple models.
Pablo is asking, with the new model being available for purchase in any color, Andy, other than the green, what other color are you interested in getting?
I think
You want to tell them about the new ones?
Well, yeah, the two new ones that we're getting. So like it's going to be fairly similar to the black and the grey. I mean, maybe you want to explain a little bit about the paint job and how that's different.
Yeah. So if you take the current AJ and you look at it, we have a very, guys, how's the angle for the lighting? Am I getting glare, or that way people can actually see it?
Tilted a little bit towards me.
Down like that?
That's good.
Okay. So with the current AJ, we try to keep these really thin. And I'm talking about the burst. So what we decided to do with the new one, because it's got a rounded body, is we're going to do more spray out. Instead of this being so defined and fine, we're doing more spray out. So there's a little more overlap where the black in the center versus the gunmetal, so it kind of bleeds out into it, and there's a little bit of gunmetal even towards the center because it gets some overspray, which is a technique we're using to get a little bit different look, right? So it's this kind of gunmetal that goes to like this black center instead of being a black center with a thin gunmetal burst, if you will. So that's one of them. And then the other one is just good old-fashioned blood splatter. So it's
white and red.
Yeah, white and red. So it's white with blood red paint splattered on it. And yeah, that's it. So those are going to be cool.
Dexter shredder, you know?
Yeah, that's right. And they have I guess they're redoing Dexter the final season, I guess.
I have heard something about that.
Yeah, they didn't, like a lot of fans, including myself, didn't like how it kind of ended. So they're kind of redoing the ending, I guess.
Right.
I think it's just the final season. So I'm looking forward to that. That'd be cool.
Sweet.
Anthony is asking, Andy, outside of guitar playing and music, what other interests/hobbies are you into?
Fuck all. I'm really not very interesting. I mean, we talked about this last
We
night.
did,
It's
we
like
did.
the only thing that I end up really doing is like music, either recording, playing, or just listening to it or whatever, or zoning out, just watching like series of stuff. I'm not a very good traveller. I don't know if you've ever heard of like Carl Pilkington or whatever, but he's kind of mates with Ricky Gervais, and they do these things where like he just sort of goes abroad and all these like amazing things that you can see in life, and he's just like, I could have just watched that on telly. And
Sounds like my
like,
kid.
Yeah,
I looked right at Zach, and Zach looked right
I'm
at me
kind of
right
the
now.
same, you know. I've seen like loads of different things, you know. I've been to like Wall of China and seen, you know, loads of stuff like that, and I've always been like, let's go to the gift shop and get an ice cream, you know.
Oh, that's
So I'm useless at travelling and being interested in that kind of stuff. Whereas, you know, a lot of people are like, what? How can you not be into that? But yeah, so just music really, and films. I think films is the other thing. That's like a big thing for me. But that's it.
Thoughts on using passive pickups versus active?
I mean, I actually don't know the intricate differences between why you stick a battery in one set of pickups and the other. The only thing I can attribute it to is back when I was a single guitar player for a band back in sort of late 2000s, and there was meant to be two guitar players, but it was just me. And I was playing a Petrucci model. What was it? Ernie Ball, right? Because that's what I had at the time. And it had like a set of Damasios in. It was like a D-Sonic and an Air Norton combo, and they were passives. And right up to that point, I've been playing like Evolutions and, you know, various different versions of like passive pickups and stuff. And, you know, they always sounded alright to me and that. But like when you just get in a room with a drummer and a bass player and you're the only guitar player, for some reason or another, it was just like, there's just something missing, empty or whatever. But I ended up getting another guitar, which was like a single cutaway, almost Les Paul style, and it had an 81 in the bridge and an 85 in the neck. And I just remember plugging in the same settings with like my valve amp and stuff like that, and it was just like the sound of it was just like two guitars playing at the same time, you know what I mean? So I think from my experience from then on, I always just thought, okay, well, active is obviously more of a thing for me. And you know, the active voicing, I suppose, has evolved from you know, those sort of like early EMGs that I would use right up to the polarity pickups that we've got in here now.
Yeah, we spent a lot of time on the polarities.
Yeah.
It took about 8 months to get them dialed to what you hear now. It's not easy, it's not quick, and you know, if you want something that really sounds good and you want to fix the typical stereotypes of an active, which I feel we did on the polarities.
Yeah, they don't have that same like compression feel, you know what I mean? But they still have the clarity. I think that's it. It's like the clarity and the size of what an active pickup perceivably gives you is the reason why I use them.
Yeah, that's
I mean,
exactly
the difference
right.
between these and some of the other ones I've used as well is like, I think one of the first shows I did was probably with this guitar. and I noticed that these particular pickups, you know, being active or whatever, that it just had like more of a kind of 3D sound to it, which was kind of a new experience from the active world for me. But like, yeah, I mean, I see no reason to kind of backtrack on that. Actives have been a big part of my sound for a long time. So
yeah, and even when Andy first came to us, he was with EMG, and the original agreement, it still to this day still says EMGs. We never even adjusted it.
I still have EMGs in some of my guitars,
Sure.
because sometimes I'll record with, like my favourite ones are the EMGs of the 5766, which are like the ones that I was using for forever. So yeah, I still have a couple of Kiesel guitars with those in as well. Just to
the first ones we sent.
It's not like I ever went off them. You know what I mean? It's just like a way to maybe just fix a couple of things that I wanted to, and we had the opportunity to work on some, and we did these,
Yeah, and the diversity, by having, those of you guys that don't know, maybe haven't heard me talk about polarities, it's a passive wound pickup, meaning it's just a regular pickup. It's just underwound. So it has a very flat signal that it's sending from the string into the active module that's built into the guitar. So with the traditional active pickup from a company that makes pickups, like a Fishman or a EMG or a Duncan Blackout, whatever, they take a pickup and they build it, and they build the module inside the pickup. What happens is you have this tiny circuit card with miniaturized components. And what happens is as you're playing, you're kind of hitting those components really hard, and it tends to gate out and compress the sound. There's no way around it unless you go to a full-size circuit card, which our card is like that big. And some of the components are, they're big, some of the caps and everything, capacitors and resistors are huge. And what that allows is it allows room to breathe. Think of like a mixing console preamp is built into the guitar, right? Rather than a tiny circuit card built into a pickup. So we have an unfair advantage, to be completely honest. We're selling guitars. We're not selling pickups. It's not what our company is. And so if we spend our cost, a lot of money on a module, it's okay. I'm not worried about it because it's all about the sound, getting the right sound. And so having that underwound passive pickup, you get that string bounce, note articulation, and you're not overdriving things from having too many winds on the pickup. And then you have all of your shaping through the card. So you get this amazing control and sound that's shaped by the card, and the pickup can send the flat signal that the string is actually reproducing, or it's reproducing the signal the string is sending. So it's an unfair advantage to all the other active pickup companies out there. It really is. But we'll take it. We'll take it.
We're running low on time. Do you want to spin the wheel or just keep on?
Nah, we're not. We'll save the wheel for another day.
What's that?
It's something we got, like this wheel. It's gonna be pretty cool, but I think with this situation, we're just gonna. Why don't we do speed questions? I think it's gonna be funny as shit, where he can only say yes or no. So in this part of the question, you have to be quick on your answer, and it's got to be like, yeah, no, I don't want to, something like that.
Okay.
So here we go. We're gonna do speed
Go
questions. Me and Andy still love you guys, but we're going to do speed questions here.
Is it possible to put a three-way switch on this model?
Yes.
Andy, what made you... Sorry, this word is very weird. Can you please explain why you prefer this setup that you have your guitar set up to?
Fucking hell. That's not a yes or no. Or
No. It's the first question I
yeah, just because, I don't know, I kind of Einsteined it and just, I don't know, felt my way through it. Fuck, I don't know. I don't know. It's because I have a severe...
This is speed question.
I have a severe lack of knowledge about a lot of things to do with it.
Oh, fuck.
So, most of the things I've done don't make sense in a sort of practical guitar world.
Will the original AJ still be available?
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Is the Evertune standard?
No, Hipshot standard, Evertune's upcharge.
Andy, have you ever tried a headless guitar?
No. Yes. I want to... no. Yes, I have. It's alright. It doesn't suit me, so...
I missed the reveal. What's new?
AJ2. Go back and watch the video.
Can we hear the guitar?
What do you want to hear? Fuck, I don't know. This is the bit I hate. Improvising. There you go.
Andy, is there any chance you'll play a multi-scale guitar someday?
No.
Will the polarity active pickups be available on other models?
Oh, they already are.
Andy, what's your favorite thing about Kiesel guitars?
Jeff.
Oh, fuck, man. That's awesome. We always have a good time, man. That's cool.
It's not the gayest answer ever, but it's true.
Dang. At least somebody out there likes me. Fuck.
Ah, well, there you go.
Will you be able to order this model with roasted bird's eye maple?
Yes.
Does Andy use hand grips or weights to get his strong hand grip?
Just wank a lot.
Yeah! That's rad.
Fret wank.
Would you make a set neck on this new model?
No. The whole point of it is to, keep it simple, change the sound, and make it more affordable. And we did that by having the bolt on.
Andy, can you play every Five Finger Death Punch song on the fly yet?
All the stuff we did live, yeah, I kept up to date with it. Yeah.
Italian food or Mexican?
Italian.
Mexican.
Are the black pole pieces and hardware standard spec on the base price?
Yes. Good question.
Andy, are you writing new Five Finger Death Punch music now?
I might well be, yeah.
Does Andy use overdrive pedals?
If I do, it'll be an SD1 Boss or an 808 Maxon.
Andy, do you find it easier to write by yourself or in a band?
I'm about to find that out.
Dang. And on that note, that's all the time we have today. we're out of time. Thanks for hanging out. We really appreciate it. The love and support that you guys have. If you guys tuned in late to this, go back and watch it. If you have questions about the Andy James model, whether it's the original, the AJ, or the AJ2, call my guys. We are taking pre-orders for the AJ2. And when I say pre-orders, it's really just a regular order because we're not holding production to start on them. Everything's programmed, everything's done. Andy signed off on it. This is the final model. I have his go-ahead on it. But we definitely appreciate you guys, and thanks for hanging out. You want to say anything?
Yeah, thanks for hanging out, and stay tuned for the next